What's up, rock stars? It's Rocks with a little bit of talk about what's at the top of the blog. So let's get to it. Alright, you guys, so everybody wants me to drag Hazel Lee. I got that request many a times. Most of you guys know me and have watched me for years and know that I am not a dragger. I am not one of those women who like to put down other women, especially when it comes to talking about their looks or anything like that. Okay, we will joke, I will kid, we'll laugh, get a good kiki about certain things, but there's just certain things that I'm not comfortable with doing. So when it comes to dragging Hazel Lee, I won't do that. But we have to discuss this hyperactive ego of Hazel Lee and how it seems to have driven her into this state where she is determined to offend as many people as she can. Now, I don't really know the full story on why Hazel Lee has gotten into... Well, let me back up. All this season, Hazel Lee has been in some sort of fight with some sort of person. She's been in it with Masika. She's been in it with Moniece. She's gotten into it with Chanel West Coast. She's gotten into it with the men on Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. This is just the show. Outside of the show, she's had little words with Sin Santana. She has gotten into it with Richie Dollars. She has gotten into it with countless people. Most recently, she is in some sort of beef with Jess Hilarious. Now, I don't know where it started. And this is where you really miss the Fameless Instagram blog, because Fameless was one of those people that would follow a story from beginning to end, post everything that was related to that story, and have it all there together so you could really see what was going on. Because Fameless is not there, no other website really does that. So I don't know all the extra outside people that might have got into it and how this shit even started with Jess Hilarious. But all of a sudden I saw on the internet that Jess Hilarious and Rose Burgundy, which is Hazel Lee's very young boyfriend that she's been seeing, were into some sort of public spat. Now let Rose Burgundy tell it. Jess was trying to talk to him at some one time, you know, was DMing her pictures to him and trying to get with him, unbeknownst to Hazel Lee, kind of on the sly. Jess Hilarious denies that, and like I said, I don't really know. I don't even really care. But as Jess Hilarious and Rose Burgundy were going back and forth, Hazel Lee decided to jump in on the beef. And it's been a disaster for her since. Jess Hilarious definitely is one of those ones that you don't want to get into it with, because Jess Hilarious does not back away. And one of her gifts in her comedy is that she's able to play the dozen. She's able to bag. Okay, she can talk about people in a joking like way, and not many people can take that. So as Jess Hilarious, I guess, was, you know, initially when the beef started, when the argument started, it didn't seem like it was going to be that big. However, Hazel Lee, I think, succumbed to the pressures and the humiliation of what Jess Hilarious was saying about Rose Burgundy, and her saying anything to Jess Hilarious. Jess's fans were coming for Hazel Lee. Hazel Lee's haters, her enemies, whatever you want to call it, were coming for her, and she couldn't take it anymore. So she finally exploded in this rant about black women, black bitches, okay, coming for her. Okay, that her mother had told her that, you know, these bitches would be jealous of her because of her light skin, okay, and how ugly they are. And I read that and I was like, girl, you must be trying to commit career suicide. There's one thing to just be kind of in this I run LA kind of way that she is. It's another thing to alienate people that have, up until now, a good group of them have defended you. Hazel Lee, not necessarily in some people's eyes the most attractive person. All right, she had a big nose. She didn't have the best skin, and people talked about her that first season. But there were a lot of people that came to her defense and understood that she was just this nice girl that was on this show, that was just really just being, you know, she was having to be the brunt of a joke because the way that she was being treated by her boyfriend and by Masika and all of that. So, you know, her supposedly boyfriend, Young Bird. So there were a lot of people who actually have made excuses and really have tried to take up for Hazel Lee from that point on. And usually these are women who have been in the same sort of instance, the same sort of predicament where they may not be necessarily considered the cutest to some people. They may have a big nose. They may have had bad skin. They may have been overweight. They may have, you know, been the victim of prejudice because they had darker skin. You know, there were women that was out there that really understood why Hazel was the way that she was. For you to then come out and alienate all these people that have come to your rescue, even though it's getting smaller and smaller, because this season has definitely shown a side of Hazel Lee that don't nobody really appreciate. But for you to come out and alienate this entire group, maybe this last group of women who actually had your back, and talk about them being ugly, fat, black bitches, okay, and not really clarifying that you only mean a certain person, but you just kind of said this whole group is not smart. Okay, now you guys tell me that Hazel Lee has a degree in public relations and that, you know, she was successful in her career before Love and Hip Hop, and, you know, she's an educated girl and she's an AKA and she does all this and that and the other, yet and still, just in one good tweet or Instagram post in this case, you undo all of that by talking about this group that has had your back. Like I said, a lot of people have decided to throw in the towel on Hazel Lee because she has just been so fucking out of pocket. But I think a little bitty teeny tiny part of us was still hoping that maybe it was just for the show, and that in real life she did not really think that way. Well, now we know that she does. And you know, when you back people into corners, ugly things happen. They're frustrated and they may lash out, but a lot of other times is the truth comes out. And if she really does feel that way, that the only reason why these women have a problem with her is because she has light skin, in this fucking day and age, you actually say something like that. With all of the racial tensions that's going on in the United States these days, for you to fix your mouth and say that black women are jealous of you because you have light skin and that you are the pretty ass bitch, you know, it's just ridiculous. So that was one thing. Rose Burgundy went on to talk about the fact that he's not gay, because that's been the issue. You know, everybody's been saying that he's gay and he's gay and he's gay. He finally had to come out and say, no, he's not gay, and that all gay people are going to burn in hell because they're not supposed to be doing that in the first place. And y'all, I'm paraphrasing, okay? But Hazel Lee not only talked about the black girls, but co-signed fully on what he says. That's right, they're gonna burn in hell, all the gay people. I'm thinking to myself, like, are we actually witnessing somebody losing their mind, a public display of mental illness finally coming out to the forefront so that we can, because it makes no sense. You are on a show that historically has had gay people, at least in these last few years, okay, at least as far as Hollywood has been concerned, they've always had gay cast members. Okay, you're on a show that is heavily supported by black women and gay people, and you are saying shit like this. Like, it makes no sense, and it almost sounds like she is trying to do her own self in. Okay, anybody that can defend Hazel Lee at this point, something is wrong with you. Okay, case in point, we got not Milan, Christopher, what was the other one? Miles. He's talking about how, you know, he's good friends with her, and you know, she's just so frustrated and upset that she's saying whatever and it's not right, but people need to get off of her. And yeah, people do need to get off of Hazel Lee's back, but I can't give her that pass because she should fucking know better. Remember, she is educated. Remember, she has a degree in public relations. She knows fully that this kind of talk will do no good for anybody. So I haven't defended Hazel Lee all this season. Like I said, people were still willing to try to be there for her. If she would have played this whole, you know, everybody was ganging up on Hazel Lee a totally different way, she would be a likable person today. Nobody will continue to harp on your looks. If you are a fucking likable person, yes, there's always going to be somebody that talks about you. I mean, I get on here and most of you guys like me, but I have people that say shit like I look like a man, that I'm a tranny, that, you know, the fact of the matter is there's always somebody out there that is not going to like you, that's always going to have something negative to say about you. I understand that it's on a reality show that's, you know, broadcasted nationally, and that the weight of it is so much bigger. But I feel like Hazel Lee has added to that exponentially because of her ego and the way that she has been and wanting to attack everybody and having this wall up about her, around her, that is, you can't even ever get over it. I'm frustrated with Hazel Lee. I don't drag people when it comes to shit like this, but I can totally understand why anybody would do it. That's why I'm gonna let you guys do whatever you gotta do in the comments. I feel like she deserves it. I feel like this may be that point, you know, when you see somebody, when they get to the peak of the bullshit and then there comes the crash. I think that this might be the crash that is needed for Hazel Lee, the eyes to open and see that, girl, even though people have been ganging up on you and you are a victim in some ways, you have put yourself there and you continue to make it worse. I could talk about so many things about Hazel Lee, but a lot of the issues that she has had and insecurities that she's had, I've had with myself, and probably a lot of black women out there have had with their own selves that they wouldn't admit to. But this ain't the way to play it. I don't know how many of our black women out there, how many gay people out there can continue to support this woman when she says and does shit like this. I mean, has absolutely no regard for the people that have been in her corner, at least. You know, I didn't talk about this way too long. I feel sorry for Hazel Lee only because I feel like she's having like a nervous breakdown, like in the public. Mona needs to take her off that show only so she can deal with her own self and whatever her own issues are. I cannot with Hazel Lee no more. I cannot with Hazel Lee no more. And there looks like there's going to be a lot of fallout behind this latest rant that she's had. She's not trying to apologize for it. She's not backing down from it. She obviously must mean it. And I don't even know if an apology would suffice at this time. Hazel Lee needs to do a whole lot of soul searching and figure out exactly what it is that she needs to do in her life to get some damn peace. Because all this fighting, I just told you guys in another video, it is extremely tiring and wearing on your life to have to fight every fucking body all the time. If it means that you need to get off this reality show and get your own mind right, then that is what she should do. They say she comes from a family with money, right? Okay, girl, let that family take care of you and get yourself together, because otherwise Hazel Lee gonna have some tough times ahead of her, and she deserves it. Y'all have at it in them comments. I'm not even gonna chastise you. Next story, let's talk about that bitch that is Tyrese. You guys, we're gonna have to retire Tyrese because I feel like I have been talking about him way too much. And he does not matter that much in my life that I got to be using my fucking 4 minutes on a segment on his dumb ass. Now, we know that Tyrese been in his feelings about a whole bunch of shit, okay? The Fast and Furious franchise, okay? The drama with The Rock, all right? His baby mama issues and him not being able to see his daughter and supposedly him beating the daughter's ass. We know that he's had problems with black women. Remember, he was talking about all us black women and us lace fronts and women wearing weaves and how everybody needs to be natural and beautiful like his wife. He's talked about black women being overweight and his disgust and disdain for black women not taking care of themselves. People had to remind him that he did have a black mother and a black sister. They included his mother and his sister. He came out, he apologized. But anyway, it's just been one case of bitch assness from this motherfucker left and right. And I can't. I done told y'all I can't with Tyrese no more. Now the latest dramatics, and this one is minor, but when you add it up with all the rest of the shit, we is just sick of his dumb ass. He got some sort of hair up his ass and came across a old picture of young Jock. You guys remember when it was going around when Jock was doing all these crazy hairstyles with his hair, and there was a Photoshop picture of him with kind of like the pineapple curls and hair going up and like an auburny red, and everybody got a good chuckle out of it back in the day. I knew right at the time that it was a photoshopped picture, and you know, we all moved on from that. Well, fast forward almost 6 months later, now here comes Tyrese. I guess he just came across the picture, and because he is this beacon of hope for all things hip-hop and whatnots, he writes this entire rant on, is this what has become hip-hop? Okay, the fact that young Jock is having his hair curled, and, you know, men not being men, and yada, yada, yada. And maybe it might have had a little bit more strength behind it if it wasn't a fucking Photoshop picture. You going off on somebody about something that was not even fucking true, and we all knew that? See, there's a thing, there's a fine line between really trying to educate people and just kind of giving your opinion, and then becoming this other person that's always perched on some damn soapbox in a way that shows them as thinking that they're better than somebody else. See, that's the problem, that's an issue that I always try to make sure that I stay aware of. I never want to come off preachy. I never want to come off as a know-it-all. I never want to come off as somebody that is putting down other people just so I can get my point across. And this is always what happens with Tyrese. Every single time. For him to come out and talk about Young Jock, when Young Jock ain't saying shit about Tyrese, for him to come out and just pick on this Photoshop picture, it was stupid. Young Jock then responded and said that he expected more from Tyrese, that Tyrese has been very successful in his movies and in his music, and for him to sort of pick on Young Jock on a picture that wasn't even real, you know, wasn't even real, Young Jock he was disappointed. And Tyrese came back and said, okay, even though that picture might not be real, you know, you were in a dress, and, you know, that is a reflection, a negative reflection on hip-hop, and, you know, brings into question your manhood and all of that. Listen, Young Jock, yeah, he stunts and shows. He's one of those ones that's going to do whatever to try to get the laugh and try to get the airtime. He's in that dress because of the show that he's on that we will be seeing soon. And even though many people would not have done that and not been in the dress and all that, I don't know if it brings into question his sexuality. It would be more so bringing into question the fact that he's willing to do whatever for the fame. He's admitted that on his own. Now all of a sudden Tyrese looks like he's just grasping at straws and trying to pick at something that will kind of support his original argument, and it just takes the steam out of everything because you were stupid from the beginning. I always tell you guys that people that work in the same medium should not talk about each other. Like, to me, it's just very haterish. That's one of the reasons why I don't get into that whole YouTube beef and the shit that be going on in the hallways of the YouTube behind the scenes with different YouTubers. I don't do any of that because as a fellow YouTuber, I know how shit can be. Shit is hard. You don't need people that do the same thing as you talking down about you. Okay, you would hope that people that know the same struggle would have support for you. So I feel that way even on a very large scale. And even though Tyrese is an actor and a singer, and you know Jock is a rapper, you know, they both know about the struggle. And whatever you got to do to stay relevant, you know, some people are willing to go further than the other, but you know, it's just not a good look. Like, leave people alone, Tyrese. I want Tyrese. Somebody go sit down with his ass and have a discussion, okay? The nigga need a hug. Where's mom and his sister at? They probably done got rid of his ass too. I feel sorry for his wife. Having to be married to that nigga for any length of time has got to be a strain on her own mental faculties. I'm so tired of Tyrese. But I'm going to retire him. I can't, you know, unless something just monumental happens, we're going to have to retire him. I'm not giving him the hands of prayer because I don't like him. And I can't find empathy for a motherfucker when I don't like him. All right, so he's on his own. Maybe one of y'all will pray for him. It's a talent there. His voice is needed like many other black men in the R&B, you know, game. But as far as I'm concerned, fuck Tyrese. Wendy Williams was on her show doing her hot topics like she does every week, and the subject of Nicki Minaj came up. Okay, more specifically, there was an article in XXL magazine on their website where Nicki Minaj is just talking about the history of hip-hop and the effects that it has on society, and you know how large hip-hop is on the culture and all of that. So Wendy, as she's talking to her audience, said that Nicki Minaj said that she made female rap mainstream, and everybody was sort of like, oh. Wendy Williams went on to support the argument that, you know, Nicki Minaj did change the game for female rappers, and she kind of moved on from that. Of course, when social media got a hold of what Wendy Williams said, there was outrage all over, okay, because we all know that Nicki Minaj was not the beginning of the female rapper and bringing it mainstream, because we had plenty of female rappers that was quite big before Nicki Minaj. I mean, when we talking about big, I'm talking about your Queen Latifahs, your Missies, your Eve. You know, those are the people that immediately come to mind when you talk about mainstream female rappers. So people were upset, and everybody was starting to talk about all of the different accolades, shout out to Nene, that these other black female rappers had come across. People started to really be upset with Nicki Minaj. Even when I saw the clip that Wendy Williams said about that, even I had a side eye for Nicki Minaj, like, really, Nicki? Are you saying this because you're in this desperation mode because of, you know, in this whole era of Cardi B and this, you know, pseudo beef or whatever people have been trying to pit these two against each other? You know, sometimes people get to that point in their career where they can see they're on the decline, so they start to say all kind of way out and outlandish shit. I was thinking to myself, like, God, is Nicki Minaj there? Okay, I didn't feel like she needed to be there yet. Okay, Nicki Minaj is still very much an A-list rapper. So I was just like disappointed, like, oh God, Nicki, here we go. But the other part of me was like, Roxanne, whenever people just be getting so upset about these so-called stories on the internet, you know what? It's time to do your own fucking research. I went and found the XXL article because, honey, no way to get it better than from the fucking horse's mouth. And when I read the article, I realized that Wendy Williams misquoted her. And I'm going to tell you what she said, actually. My role in hip-hop has been super unique because when my first album came out, there had been so much time where there wasn't a female rap album out that went platinum. There wasn't a big female rap presence right before I got in. So my role was reintroducing the female rapper to pop culture. I aligned myself with a lot of brands, and I was able to show that a female rapper can sell products. Okay, she goes on to talk about how she was with the makeup companies and different clothing companies, and even her influence on very large designers such as Chanel. They realized that her influence and the fact that she would even just carry their bag or wear any of their jewelry or wear their clothes, that would affect their bottom line. So after you realize that Wendy Williams misquoted her, and how many times have I told you guys that people do this all the time? Blogs do this, entertainment, gossip type blogs. It happens all the time because they can have the ability of changing one little word or just kind of changing the tone of what a person originally said to garner a reaction from the audience of outrage, and that brings more traffic to their blog, or in a case of a TV show, that makes people watch even more. People just want to be fucking outraged about any old thing these days, so bloggers are aware of that. And they use it a lot. Wendy Williams doing that, I feel like it was irresponsible of Wendy Williams, is because Wendy Williams is not like a blogger. Bloggers a lot of times is just somebody at the house and they are just kind of weighing in on their own opinion on things. But when you have a TV show, I kind of feel like Wendy has a little bit more of a responsibility journalistically to have people that are really going to research and give her the right information so that she can say the right information to people, so that it don't create all this extra drama for, in this case, Nicki Minaj. I told you guys before that I don't know who's doing the research for Wendy Williams, but obviously she ain't reading it for herself. Somebody is coming and telling her these things, and then she is going out and saying whatever she has to say off of that information, and it's just like starting to happen so much now that it's starting to be a problem. So when she says I reintroduced, okay, when she says that there wasn't anybody right before I came out, then that is a more truer statement. So it was sort of like this re-emergence as things started to sort of simmer down for the female rap artists. And, you know, we saw these female rappers starting to get shows and kind of going on to do other things. So what she said was true. But like I said, everybody had got upset and, you know, went on and on and on. So she had to come back out and clarify. And that's when she said, listen, I did not say nothing about me making it mainstream. Didn't say anything like that. I said I reintroduced the female rapper to pop culture. She went on to talk about Queen Latifah and Eve, and, you know, how it don't get no more mainstream than having TV shows and production companies, okay, where white people is actually investing their money and time into you, okay, because we all know that mainstream is white people supporting you. I felt bad for Nicki Minaj because as much as we have been talking about maybe Nicki Minaj's career starting to be, you know, it's time for her to maybe possibly move over and hand over the torch to the next, you know, generation of rappers that's coming up. In this case, I feel like people was really trying to make her look a certain way, you know, and motherfuckers just don't need that kind of look. I agreed with what Nicki Minaj said when I really read the article, and you guys go out and read the article as well, because it's actually a very good article talking about a whole bunch of other things other than just that little bit about the female rappers. But yeah, I'm gonna keep on telling you guys, you have got to do shit for yourselves. I am a person that falls victim for it as well, but I don't fall for it as much as I used to, because I have become aware that social media hypes shit and distorts shit, and it's not fair to the person that we're talking about. So yeah, you guys, tell me what you think though. Did you agree with the real statement that was made? I don't see no lies there. And I think that if we were probably to ask any of these other female rappers if they were really trying to be true with themselves, they would admit that she probably was right as well. But give me your opinion. Tell me what you think about all of that. You guys saw the main event. Did you watch it? It was on Tuesday, October 17th, 2017. BET aired the wedding of Gucci Mane, okay, better known as Radric Date. Well, Radric. Who knew it was Radric? I was like, well, ain't no Y in there. It's R-A-D. Y'all, you know, I'm a phonetically kind of, when I see a word, it got to make sense when it's spelled. Okay, but anyway, they was calling them Radric Davis and Keisha Kayor. They got married in a very opulent, I think they said the wedding was $1.7 million. I was like, who the fuck paid for that? BET? Okay. BET out here shelling out that kind of money? But these motherfuckers didn't want to pick up Underground. Don't let me start. I already told you guys that the Underground was not in their budget. But anyway, 1.7 is a huge ass number for, you know, a Gucci Mane and Keisha Kayor wedding. But they did it. Not only did they do that, but they have invested 12 episodes, I believe, of a reality show that is going to be on their engagement in the process of getting up to this wedding day. That is going to start next Tuesday. Now, the wedding itself was beautiful. You guys know Rocky love. I want all motherfuckers to be in love. I was happy for them. I've told you guys plenty of times that Gucci Mane is somebody that is near and dear to my heart. And I have just always liked the fact that once he got out of jail, he hit the ground running in such a positive way and just has completely made a 360. And I am going to hope that he continues on this path, because he looks happy, she looks happy, and damn it, if they like it, I love it. Now, the wedding itself was beautiful. She looked great. He looked great. Okay, the bridesmaid's dress was a little bit granny-ish, but the flowers, the diamonds, the crystals, the all white, the shininess, the white curtains. I mean, it was all very, very beautiful. Enjoyed it immensely. Let's talk about the other parts, though. First thing is, whenever they have these televised weddings, I always say to myself, like, oh, I can't wait to see somebody getting married. It's always fun to see a televised wedding. I be thinking that I want to see it on TV until it actually happens on TV. And then I remember that televised weddings take a lot of the intimacy out of a wedding. That being because I don't care how beautiful everything is, you have got to have these cameras everywhere. You have got to have wires, even though they did a good job of hiding that kind of stuff. But It's bright as fuck because they have to have the production. It has to be able to be seen on TV. There's all these other people. It just takes the tenderness and the love out of a wedding. On top of that, you got to have commercials. Now you done got your whole self into the love of everything on the damn screen, and then it's a Burger King commercial. And then you got to be having commercials about old people falling in bathtubs and all, and then you got to try to get your mind back redirected to the tenderness and love when they come back. Like, you know, unless they can really corner off 30-minute segment, a 30-minute block, which I understand costs a whole lot of money, and most people are not going to do that. But unless you can really segment off a good 30-minute block so we can get through this whole fucking wedding with no interruptions, then televised weddings is just not where it's at. Okay, and I done seen a few. We've seen Chloe's wedding, we done seen Kim's wedding, we done seen Candy's wedding. Now here we are with Gucci and Keisha. So that's one of the problems that I have with televised weddings. Like, maybe we don't need to do that no more. The other thing is this whole backwards, you know, the wedding being the start of this reality show and then going back and, you know, bringing it up from the beginning of the engagement all the way up to the wedding day just feels weird to me. It feels backwards. Why BET would do something like that? You know, the only explanation I could have for that is maybe they didn't have the time in their schedule lineup to do it beforehand, so they figured they would do it, you know, on the back end and bring it up, and that there would be still enough interest in their story to, you know, for people to watch. Either that, or maybe they didn't want people to know exactly what they were going to have in their wedding. They wanted it to all be a surprise because, you know, it was all this big over the top was the general theme of it. I can't understand why they do that, but you know, to me it just seems like you done gave the damn birthday presents to the birthday child, and then you want them to sit there for the party. Like, it's just like, I done got the gifts, now I'm ready to go. I don't know, but what you guys think? I mean, I probably will still watch only because I have a general interest in those two and I like them. But yeah, I don't know. The third thing that we gotta discuss is all the drama, you know, the outside drama that's been added to this union of Gucci and Keisha, okay? And the fact that Keisha, there's all been this talk for maybe the last 5 months or so, ever since we've been hearing about their engagement and, you know, the date getting closer, that she has these 3 kids in Jamaica. I've talked about it before. And I had a lot of my Jamaican rock stars out there. What up to y'all? A lot of you guys said that is normal, and a lot of times people leave their kids behind in Jamaica. And you know, I'm not really up on the Jamaican culture like that, so I was just like, oh, okay. But that's still kind of strange, right? So it's picking up steam. I know you guys have seen Kia and T.S. Madison talking about Keisha and the fact that, you know, her kids are missing in action, and, you know, her family wasn't there for the wedding, and how she's got all these new friends kind of being her bridesmaids and yada, yada, yada. Listen, the only thing I can say about that is, who knows? Okay, the family has come out, sisters have come out and just said, you know, that they just never thought that they wouldn't be a part of her life. So obviously there has been some falling out between the family and Keisha, but we still don't know the full story. It looks like they're going to try to talk about it a little bit on this reality show, and if anything else, that may keep people tuned in just to kind of hear what she has to say about that. But I guess these 3 kids do exist. We don't know what the circumstances are behind her sisters and her not talking. And yes, it is odd. It's very strange. It's very strange. But you guys also know that families have all kind of issues and shit happens and people don't be talking, and you know, so I'm gonna wait for the show to come out, and then we gonna readdress it, you know, when it does, because when it comes out, it's going to be a big deal. And then we don't even really know if there may have been some of her other family there. I mean, they didn't really concentrate too much on the audience and all the people was there. So those are things that probably could have been addressed in the, you know, in the reality show, if they would have put that ahead of time so people would already know, and maybe it wouldn't have been such a big issue on her wedding day. But that's pretty much it, you guys. I enjoyed it. Like, you know, I love the, you know, the diamond bouquet and the diamond bow tie, and, you know, oh, the other problem. Now, you would think with them being so immersed in the hip-hop culture, the entertainment culture, the music culture as far as Gucci Mane is concerned. Why would your music be so fucked up? Now, they paid the money, obviously, the release to have these songs played in the wedding. Okay, you don't never hear that kind of shit going on BT. They always, edit in some other bullshit. But this time we heard the music, and why don't you guys have somebody that actually mixed the music in? It was like they had a fucking song for every new bridesmaid that walked out there. Okay, did nothing flow, did nothing match. Gucci Mane walks out on That's What I Like by Bruno Mars. And then they had about 4 or 5 other songs, I swear, that it seemed like it coincided with each bridesmaid. And then she walked out on Patti LaBelle, If Only You Knew. But to me, I was just like, what the fuck is going on? And then the music would just cut off. Didn't nothing blend into the next, try to catch the beat and, make sure that it matched and kept a flow. And honey, they was just like, okay, take this album off, put this one on, let's let this play for a few minutes, take this off, put this next one on, let that play. I was just like, no. Music is real important because it sets the tone. And that beginning of all of that just kind of that was the start of the intimacy being taken out. But if I was to close my ears and just look at everything, it was beautiful. I'm happy for them. I hope their union continues to bring great things. And that's pretty much it for me. What did you guys think about the main event, though? Did you watch? Alright, you guys, got to do a real quick rest in peace to Michael Knight. Now, you guys know who Michael Knight is. We mostly was introduced to him on, I believe he was on the 3rd season of Project Runway. I only watched that show up until like the 3rd or 4th season. And although he did not win the contest, he was in the final, he was one of the finalists. And he definitely made his mark on the fashion industry. That was a good stepping stone for him. After he was on that show and a finalist, I think he came in either 3rd or 4th. He went on to create his own clothing line, his own fashion line. I think he debuted, they said, in 2007 or 2008 on like Rip the Runway. And he has been known as one of the designers in the black community. And you would see him. He'd always have a smile on his face. Very handsome guy. Never heard any bad things about him. People that worked with him, people that wore his clothes, always had great things to say about him. And he just sort of was off of my radar. So as time has gone on, hadn't seen Michael Knight, didn't think anything of it. And then all of a sudden we're hit with the news, bam, that he has died at 39 years old. I was like, what? I had no idea that he had even been sick. Like, was it suddenly? Like, I needed answers. Okay, the nosy part of me. So I went on to the hashtag of Michael Knight, and immediately I saw a picture of him on his last, he was down in New York for Fashion Week, just this last New York Fashion Week, and the pictures were alarming. He obviously has been sick for some time and probably stayed out of the public eye on purpose, but yet and still he was still charging forth with his career, his fashion line. Like I said, he had his clothing out there in New York Fashion Week. But yeah, very, 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 very thin, to the point where it looked like he was using his very last everything just to be at that fashion show. I was just like, oh my God. Some more research they haven't officially said what he has died from, but they said something about he had been complaining about irritable bowel syndrome pretty much this year. That is what people are assuming that he has died from, either complications from irritable bowel syndrome, because I don't even know if you can actually die from that. I mean, out there, I would need my rock star doctors out there, the real ones, to let me know. But it's not our job to, question how this man has died. Obviously he had been sick. My heart broke for him when I saw those pictures, because then I was like upset that they even posted those pictures. But people have, like I said, these blogs, and people, and here I am talking about it. So I guess it's just a job that is done. But unfortunately, sometimes it's at the expense of somebody's, just their whole being. Like, God, I was so saddened when I saw those pictures. But anyway, like I said, he's 39 years old. He didn't have any children. He was not married. But I'm sure he leaves behind a huge host of family and friends and fans Prayers up to all of you all of us all, and rest in peace to Michael Knight. And then lastly, you guys, in quickies, Nelly's accuser has decided that she wants to not cooperate with the police anymore and that she would just rather forget the whole thing. She's saying that she cannot take the pressure, that she's been getting death threats, that is so much on her that she's stressed out and depressed and crying, staying in her room. She is a 21-year-old college student who just wants to get her degree and move on with her life. So now she has decided that she does not want to press charges. She won't be testifying or anything. To Nelly's camp, this looks like vindication for them, and they actually want a public apology. The police says not so fast. She can not cooperate all she wants, but she's already got the ball rolling, and we will continue to investigate this case. So even though this girl is saying that she will not cooperate, that does not mean that Nelly is not guilty. It means that she cannot take the pressure of society coming down on her. And if he is indeed guilty, I haven't said if I feel like he is or isn't, because I don't know. But if he is guilty, this is a sad day, because once again, just the power and the influence of a celebrity such as Nelly has let another person get away with objectifying a woman, raping a woman, sexually assaulting a woman, and that's a bad thing. Okay, now we talking about all the shit that has gone on with Harvey Weinstein, and it lets you know for sure that it goes on in Hollywood, so it is not impossible. You would just hope that Nelly would have more sense than that. But like I said, there have been people even bigger and more powerful than him who have obviously had a lapse in judgment and took advantage of woman after woman after woman, and knowing that that person won't say anything because of their power and influence. So yeah, it's kind of bad. Like, that's kind of bad. You know, a lot of people are just like, oh, the bitch this, and, you know, she this and she that, and, you know, the hoe need to get a job and all that. That's the wrong way to be, you guys. You would just hope that justice was served in this case, either way it goes. Now that she's decided to pull out, like, that just kind of makes me feel bad. I mean, hell, maybe somebody paid her off from his camp, and she's decided she's gonna go on with her life and her money and just say forget it and try to deal with it on her own. I mean, we've heard a whole bunch of things happen in these cases, but I don't know, you guys. It's the whole story is sad. Still very, like, you know, got a problem with Nelly for even being in that predicament in the first place. But yeah, it's not a great ending to that story, you guys. So everybody wants to know if Toni Braxton and Birdman are married, okay? It's been a whole bunch of talk, especially by Tamar Braxton, saying that she feels like they're already married because they've been, you know, just so serious and around each other all this time. And I don't know where that turned from she feels like they might be married to them actually being married, but that has been the talk, okay? And maybe it was strengthened by the fact that we started to see Birdman making obvious changes to his physical appearance and maybe trying to mature a little bit, okay? Got rid of the gold teeth. He is removing tattoos off of his face. And, you know, we just started to see all these changes happening and thinking like, you know what, Toni Braxton must have been like, nigga, you don't have to grow up, okay? Because we can't be with all this shit all the time. Like, no. Okay, that is not cute, not Gucci, not what we doing. So he's removing tattoos. At least we know their relationship probably is serious enough where he is taking into consideration how she feels. When men start doing shit like that, then it is something behind it, okay? It's something real there. Maybe he sees something, maybe they see something in each other that is worth it for them. So I mean, it would be cool if them two was married. I mean, very much what I wouldn't expect, but like I've said, you've heard nothing but great stories when it comes to Birdman and his girlfriends. Every woman that has been involved with him that we kind of know of have said that he is a great boyfriend. So we was going with them being married, and then Toni Braxton's rep said nope, they not married. But like I said, maybe we building up to something like that, and it would be cool to see if it does happen. And then lastly, you guys, we got to end it off with some sort of positivity. They say that your girl Shonda Rhimes of How to Get Away with Murder and Scandal and Grey's Anatomy and Private Practice fame, she's going to be inducted into the Television Hall of Fame. She will be the third black female that has been inducted to the Television Hall of Fame. The two coming before her was Oprah and Diane, so she is in great company there, and I'm very proud of Shonda Rhimes. Okay, The fist pump of righteousness for our black girl magic. Black women out there doing it. The Television Academy said all of these individuals are innovators who have shaped television and left an indelible mark on the medium and our culture. We are honored to welcome the latest group of distinguished individuals, including Shonda Rhimes, and look forward to showcasing their impacts for future generations. That's an unquote, quote, unquote. So, yeah, very proud of Shonda Rhimes. Somebody to model your own writing career behind. Okay, congratulations, Miss Shonda Rhimes. Alright, can you guys tell I'm sweating? It's hot as fuck. I don't have my air conditioning on because it was cold, but it's hot in this car. So let me get on back to work. We do this every single week. Make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you come back. Until next time, rock stars. Bye.